Hello, students. Very good evening to one and all. I hope you have gone through my first lecture on Paradise Lost, Book 1. Now I will continue my lecture yesterday from where we have stopped yesterday. I think we have stopped before we began the first speech of Saturn. After his, of course, not only his, along with all the fallen angels, his fall into the hell. So there, after the great shock of defeat as well as the punishment given, that is throwing out of the heaven and then imprisoned in the hell. So how he wakes up and then he's the first as a leader to wake up, and then he has noticed his friend who was only next to him in power, and who lead him, okay, who was with him in waging war against God in heaven. So in that impious war that is waged in the heaven, and how what he is going to speak now when he came into consciousness in the heaven. Let us see. Let me present my screen to you. Yeah, I hope the screen is visible to you. And moreover, um, this, yeah, yeah, that the line, I think, yeah, at the here, we have stopped. As you have this PDF with you, the text PDF, I request you to open from the line 84 and just go through it while listening to the lecture. So we have yesterday stopped from at line 83 where the line says that Saturn, when he came into consciousness, has noticed his friend, his ally, that is Beelzebub. Okay, Beelzebub is a fallen angel, and it's believed that later he became the god, heathen god in Palestine. So both of them are just weltering on the fire, the fiery lake, and then he noticed and he is talking to him, to whom the arch enemy and thence in heaven called Saturn. So Saturn is called as the arch enemy, and there we from now onwards, after his fall, he will be called as the Saturn. Actually, he is the archangel, perhaps the chief angel. So with bold words, with courageous words, and breaking the silence that is there in the hell, the horrid silence, horrible silence, or fearful silence, he spoke. If thou beest he, but oh, how fallen, how changed from him who in the happy realms of light, clothed with transcendent brightness, didst outshine my rays though bright. See, here he's saying that is, addressing to Beelzebub, who used to be very bright, okay, among many of the angels, cherubim that are there in heaven, in the happy realms of light, that is in the light of heaven, in the heaven. So from there, if thou beest he, are you the same he whom I know in heaven, who was very much bright with transcendent brightness, very much bright among all other people? You were very bright in those happy realms of light that is in heaven. But now, if he whom mutual league, united thoughts and counsels, equal hope and hazard in the glorious enterprise. Join with me once, now misery hath joined. See, he says, "You are you the one who joined with me in the hell, in the mutual league?" They mutually have planned the war against God. Okay, and they have thought unitedly and counseled each other, and they together have counseled all other angels also to fight against God. Equal hope and hazard in the glorious enterprise. So they equally have taken everything positively or negatively. Now they are taking the pain also very equally. And see, the war which was mentioned by Milton as or the speaker of the poem as impious is being mentioned by Saturn as a glorious enterprise. It's a glorious task for him. Joined with me once, now misery hath joined. So we were once together, and now who is there with us? Now who is with us? It is misery. So we have lost the happiness in heaven, and now we are together. This is the common thing. But now only thing is changed. What is that? Happiness has changed to misery. In equal ruin, into what pit thou seest, from what height fallen. So he says, see, what is the type of ruin we are in? Equally ruined. They both are equally ruined. And he says, from the from such a height we have fallen into the pit. Now you are seeing the pit. So much the stronger proved he with his thunder. He says that now God, he here refers to God, and with his thunder. Thunder is the arm weapon for God, and he Saturn is saying that God with his weapon of thunder has proved very stronger than us. Until then, who knew the force of those dire arms? Till then, as they were also a part of heaven, and as they were also with God, they never knew that God will be that much stronger, because God was very merciful, and God was looking after them very in a good manner. He was friendly, and so they felt that maybe because of his good behavior, gentle behavior, they might have thought that we can easily win over God. But until they were defeated, they didn't know what is the force of those dire arms, dreadful or fatal arms or weapons that God has. Yet, not for those, nor what the potent victor in his rage can else inflict. So he is now saying, he is revealing his mind. However strong might be God, or whatever he is going to inflict upon us, whatever he is going to, or however he is going to punish us hereafter, and or whatever he did already to us. Do I repent or change? So he's saying that it is not in God's hand to change me, or to what you call to make me repent. And repenting is to accept your sins. If we commit some sin, people say that it is better you confess. Now confession itself is the repent. So Saturn actually is has committed a sin. The sin is waging a war against God. Now he says that whatever force he might be having, whatever strength he might be having, that means God might be having, let him be victorious, or whatever pain he is going to inflict upon us hereafter, I am not going to change. So he is saying that he is not going to change. Though changed in outward lesser, so he says that I might have changed in outward appearance. See, in the heaven, how their appearance was, they were like angels, very bright, white, shining. that transcendent brightness, which he referred, he himself has referred in the beginning lines of this speech. He says, our outward appearance has changed very much. You know how Saturn is shown in a black color, okay, because they are burnt in hell. Now, very in a contrast to the light and dark. If you think, light is the angel and darkness is the Saturn. So now their outward appearance has changed completely. Though, what is there if I have changed physically? That fixed mind and high disdain from sense of endured merit, that with the mightiest raised me to contend, and to the fierce contentions brought along, innumerable force of spirits armed, that durst dislike his reign, and me preferring his utmost power with adverse power opposed, in dubious battle on the plains of heaven, and shook his throne. Now, what am I? See how, what you call, egoistic, and then how he is showing his pride. Okay, says, what am I? I am not a very, what you call, weak person, though I might have been defeated by God. Because I am strong only, thousands of angels have followed me, who did not like the reign of God in heaven. So, with the mightiest raised me to contend. So he says that they did not like the mighty power of God, and they believed me that I am also strong, or I am also like God. So this is what actually he feels, Saturn feels. So like God, I am strong. So that is why thousands of angels have followed me, and they joined me in the battles on the plains of heaven. So my mind is fixed. See, in what he is fixed? In waging the war. He was defeated. Yet he says that now I am not going to take a back turn. So his merit is injured. So he was defeated. He'll be feeling, of course, very, what you call as, no, he disdain and high disdain from sense of endured merit. Is very feeling very ashamed of his, what you call, defeat and God's victory. Yet he says that I am not going to change. My mind is fixed. See, actually, we say no, that is, failures are the stepping stones of success. So, if we fail, we should not get disheartened, and then we should not stop trying for the success another time. And this is what sounds in the Saturn's speech. He says that I have lost my outward appearance. I have lost my happy place of dwelling, that is heaven, which is the happy place, okay, and the light, full of light and peace, etc. But what is going to happen if I lost that? I whatever is lost, but I am not going to change my mind. I am fixed in my mind. He says, I am also stronger. That is why innumerable force of spirits have joined me, and who did not like the reign of God, and they preferred me as leader. See how proud he is, and he says that they preferring me, what we did, we all have opposed the adverse power. And this is a dubious battle on the plains of heaven. So dubious, why it is dubious? Saturn is feeling that God did not reveal his strength. So it is very strange how Saturn, to know how Saturn feels. Of course, Saturn feels that God has hidden his arms. He did not reveal his true personality. So then he couldn't have, maybe before, if he knows beforehand what God's power is, and what is the power of his arms, etc., he might not have ventured upon this war. That is why, in a way, he says that God is dubious. And though it is dubious, we were able to shook his throne. They were actually give a tough fight. So that was like a fight between the equals. Saturn is not so weakling. God might be a strong. Um, God might be stronger than Saturn, but Saturn is also not a weakling, not an easy. It was not an easy task to gain victory for God also. That is why he says that ours is also not a small army. And I, with all the strength of the fallen angels, and I, with all the strength of mine, have were able to give a tough fight to God. So then he says, what though the field be lost? All is not lost. The unconquerable will. He says, of course, the battlefield is lost. Because of that, all has not lost. Nothing. Once, if we lost once, we may gain another time. So he says, nothing is lost because the field is lost. What is remaining, though battle is lost? Unconquerable will. So willpower, we say, no, in general terms also. I told you in the very beginning that Saturn's speeches, of course, appear like good speeches of personality development. And he says that unconquerable will have. If you have will, you can do that. That is what we believe. If you have will, there is a way. Okay, so here he says that I have that unconquerable will. No one can conquer my will. God might have conquered the battle in the battle, but he can't conquer my will. And study of revenge, immortal hate, and courage never to submit or yield, and what is else not to be overcome. So he says that my hatred towards God will be as it is. It will not decrease even a bit also after the defeat. And my hate, as I am immortal, will be immortal. He says that I am a continuous, you know what you say, enemy to God, he says. And what type of courage? He says this courage never to submit or yield. Whether I will not surrender my courage, and I will not yield in front of God. So, and what is else not to be overcome? And what is there if I am fixed in my will, if I am going to carry my courage like that, and if I am going to keep my hatred towards God, and because I am immortal, my hate all will also be immortal, and I will be waging war, and there is no question of, he says, to just going and falling on the feet of God, to yield or to submit, to say, or to beg pardon, he says. And what is else not to be overcome? So if I have all these, what is there that I can't overcome? That glory shall never have his wrath or might extort from me, he says. Of course God might be glorious, of course God might be the strongest, but he cannot extort anything for me. And what is that he cannot extort? To bow and sue for grace with suppliant knee, and deify his power. So he says that, actually, we all think that we should be humble in front of God. And that is why when you pray, you are asked to kneel down, suppliant knee, with supplication, with requests. Okay, and deify, praising him, his God. And because he is the Almighty, the Almighty God, omnipresent God, omniscient God, we all bow down before him, and with suppliant knee, and request him, okay, for his glory, for his mercy. But what Satan is saying? Never I will do that. Who from the terror of this arm so late doubted his empire. Oh, who am I? Saturn is very proud, and he is, of course, he believes in his strength very much. Okay, and he says that, who am I? I am the one who, because of whom God has doubted his empire, because of my power, because of my strength, and because of my army. God himself has doubted his empire. That were low indeed, that were an ignominy and shame beneath this downfall. See, God doubted his empire, that itself is shameful to God. And this is than my downfall, that is more shameful thing, that God doubted his empire, and by fate the strong strength of gods and this imperial substance cannot fail. So he says, this imperial, actually celestial, as I told you, as gods are immortal, Saturn is also important. So whatever this, and since by fate the strength of God and this imperial substance cannot fail, so God, of course, because of his immortality, and it is by fate, by chance, of course he could. And what about me? I am also immortal. Though I have failed, but I was able to create fear in God himself, that he doubted his kingdom, since through experience of this great event, in arms not worse, in foresight much advanced, we may with more successful hope resolve to wage by force or guile eternal war. What is his decision? He says that through the experience that we have now. Now, previously we didn't know the power of God. He says that God is a dubious God. He could not reveal his powers. But now we know what his power is. So, what is our aim? He says, we are also having powerful arms, and we are also having much foresight. So, hereafter, we will resolve to wage war by force or guile. Where by force, by strength, and then by cheating even. If we can't win over God by force, by strength, what will we do? We will try to win with guileless, cheating, okay, cunningness, eternal war. Now onwards, it is going to be eternal war between me and God. Irreconcilable. So it can never be reconcilable to our grand foe. This is God. He says that he is the great enemy who now triumphs. He is saying, of course, he might be triumphing now. He is enjoying the fruits of victory. And in the excess of joy, soul reigning holds the tyranny of heaven. He says that, of course, as he has won the battle, he might be feeling triumphant. And because of the joy of defeating us, he might be possessing the heaven tyrannically. So God is, according to Saturn, is a tyrant. So he is reigning the supreme, the heaven, because there is no one to oppose him now. So he might be reigning his heaven, his kingdom, tyrannically, because there is no one to oppose him now. But now, even after the defeat, I am not going to beg his pardon. Rather, I am deciding to continue the eternal war. We will never reconcile with the grand foe, with our grand foe. So, see what is the mind of Saturn. So, in this first speech of Saturn, what you have to observe is what mind Saturn is having. Saturn is having unconquerable will, so, and never to submit, never to yield, and wage an eternal war. What is lost? What is lost if the battlefield is lost? All is not lost. So, how of course optimistic, and his resolution, having a great resolution, even after that much of pain that is inflicted upon us by God, he will never give up his spirit. Rather, he decides or he resolves to fight again. Okay, so spake the apostate angel. So this is archangel, apostate angel. Now that is how the Saturn has spoken. Though in pain, of course, though he was boasting of his strength, though he was presenting himself as very powerful and only a bit lower than God, etc., we can see how he was just, you know, pouring out his anger, okay, and pain. But he is, of course, raked with deep despair. Inner minds to the outward, he is boasting of his strength, though he considers that this failure is nothing at all. Okay, yet we can notice the speaker says, there is a deep despair in his heart, and him thus answered soon his bold compeer. When Beelzebub listened to the decisions of Saturn, to the resolutions of Saturn, immediately Beelzebub replied him, O prince, O chief of many throned powers, see how he is praising. He is like the prince, and you are the chief of many throned powers that led the embattled seraphim. So, cherubim, seraphim, or in the heaven, like angels, the orders of the angels. I think seraphim is next to cherubim, and he says, "You are the greatest prince." See, Beelzebub, how praise praising Saturn is the followers of any leader will do the same thing only. So Beelzebub is also doing the same thing here. So you are our prince, and you are a great power, and you have led the greatest seraphim to war under thy conduct, under your leadership, and in dreadful deeds, fearful, endangered heaven's perpetual king. He says that with our dreadful, fearful deeds, we were very fearless, and we were able to keep God in danger. So, heaven's perpetual king, continuous king. So, there is no other king for heaven, only God is the king. And though he was holding the kingdom for, say, for ages, you were able to endanger his throne. See how boastingly and how flatteringly Beelzebub speaks of Saturn. So you are a great leader, you are our prince, and you are the one who led all the all our followers who are the embattling seraphim, and put to proof his high supremacy. What happened with our war? His supremacy was put to test. We were testing his supremacy, whether upheld by strength or chance or fate. See how, of course, God has win, but even Beelzebub says that maybe by chance or fate, God could win. And they won't agree that God is the mightiest. So this is how even Saturn and Beelzebub also feel. And he says, of course, he was upheld by his strength, chance, or fate. However, whatever it is, he could win. Too well I see and rue the dire event. Now, so along with you, I also see the dire, dreadful event. Okay, and now in war, what happened? They both were together. And now in the hell, what is the situation? He also knows that with sad overthrow and foul defeat hath lost us heaven. So the way you waged the war, the way you led our force, and everything I have witnessed, and God by chance has won the battle. And of course, after this foul defeat, we were overthrown and we lost heaven and all this mighty host, all their followers, okay, all the army, the Satan's army, in horrible destruction laid thus low. He says, see how they are just lying low in a horrible, distracted position. As far as God's and heavenly essences can perish, for the mind and spirit remains invincible and vigor soon returns. He says that as far as heavenly essential essences can perish. Okay, what is that we have lost? Only the heavenly essences. You know, they are perished now. They don't have the transcendent brightness, light, or that beauty or everything what is there in heaven is not here. But what he says, though we might have lost that, our mind and spirit, of course, remains same, invincible. No one can conquer this. And vigor, our strength, will return soon. Though all our glory extinct, all our glorious state in heaven is removed now, it is no more. And happy state, our happy state is also gone. And here, swallowed up in endless misery, our happiness is swallowed by the endless misery into which we were thrown. But what if he, our conqueror, whom I now of force believe Almighty? See, this is where Beelzebub confesses that, of course, whatever be the reason for the what do you say, victory of God, of course, by force, I believe that God is Almighty. So, but what if our conqueror, since no less than conqueror have left us this, our spirit and strength, excuse me, strength entire strongly to suffer and support our pains, that we may so suffice his vengeful ire, or do him mightier service as his thralls. So, though God might have won, we are not going to, of course, change. Though now I believe that God is mightier than us. But whatever it is, He says that we, in spite of all the pain that He has given us, with vengeance, okay, with to satisfy His vengeance and His anger upon us, we are not going back and be his thralls, means servants. So Beelzebub also, like Saturn, says that whatever be the pain that we are now having, whatever the happy state that we have already lost, whatever is the glory that we have lost, we are not going back and become the servants of God. By right of war, whatever his business be, here in the heart of hell to work in fire, or do his errands in the gloomy deep. What can it then avail, though yet we feel strength undiminished or eternal being to undergo eternal punishment? So no, what to do? Again he says that what to do? So we are not going to change our will, we are not going to change our mind, or we are not going to serve God like servants again. Whatever is his business, and why he sent us on into the hell, are we going to do his business even here? That is what he says. You know how he says, our strength, of course, is diminished. And now we, because we are eternal beings, are we going to undergo the eternal punishment? So though he supported to some extent, and though he felt very strong, and he praised Saturn, looking at the miserable situation surrounding him, he got some questions. What are we going to do? So, are we going to be punished eternally here because we are eternal beings? Because they can't die, they won't die. That is, they are not mortals, they are immortals. So, because we are mortals, is our punishment going to be immortal? That is what Beelzebub doubts. Whereto, with speedy words, the archfiend replied. So now Saturn, the archfiend is Saturn, immediately is replying to Beelzebub. Fallen cherub, to be weak is miserable, doing or suffering, but of this be sure, to do aught good never will be our task. So he says that, oh, don't get discouraged. No, Saturn is a leader, and a leader, when he sees that discouragement in his followers, especially in his prime follower, an important follower who is only next to his next to power in their army, he says that fallen cherub, to be weak is miserable. We should not feel weak. It is miserable. Doing or suffering, where of course we should do something. Of course, we are suffering. But of this be sure, make sure of one thing. To do aught good never will be our task. He says, to do aught good, to do anything good will never be our task. So Saturn says that we will never do good things. No, good in the eyes of God. Okay, but ever to do ill or soul delight. Our soul happiness is to do ill, to do bad, as being the contrary to his high will, whom we resist. So, why we won't do good? Because doing good is for the happiness of God. But we will never do good. We will always be doing ill, because this is in contradiction to His will, God's will. So, whatever God's will is, we will never do. We will do opposite to that, because we resist Him. If then His providence out of our evil seek to bring forth good, our labor must be to pervert that end, and out of good still to find means of evil. He says, of course, when we are doing ill, maybe because God is powerful with his providence, with his care, he may try to bring forth good from our ill deeds, our bad deeds. But even at that time, Saturn says that our end will be, our aim will be to bring even evil even out of that good. So, which oft times may succeed, so as perhaps shall grieve him, if I fail not, and disturb his inmost counsels from their destined aim. But see, the angry victor hath recalled his ministers of vengeance and pursued back to the gates of heaven. So, by doing ill, what is their aim? Because this grieves him. So, God will be pained by the ill deeds of these people, these Saturn, fallen angels. So, whatever be God's plans, will keep on destroying. And whatever good He is trying to bring out of our ill deeds, even then also we will try to bring out ill out of them, thus causing pain to God. So now I think God has withdrawn all his arms, weapons. Okay, the weapons of thunder, sulfurous hail. Okay, and precipice. This precipice is the rocks. Fiery rocks, etc. And then shafts. That is a ray of lightnings, etc. All these from 170 to 170 4 or so, 5 also, they are all weapons. See, sulfurous hail, and so after us in storm, like a storm, it was sulfurous hail is nothing but flames, and flame was behind them, like a storm, like a cyclones, and now it is overflown. The fiery surge that from the precipice, from the high rock of heaven, which was following us, received us falling here in the hell, is also now is no more. And thunder winged with red lightning and impetuous rage. Okay, that is king. Actually, God also became very angry, and then in a sudden anger, he had thrown us out of heaven without any second thought. And all this thunder, lightning, and this sulfurous hail and fiery surge have now we are withdrawn. Perhaps hath spent his shafts and seas is now they have all spent their fires. Maybe the fire is over, and now it is stopped. To bellow through the vast and boundless deep, let us not slip the occasion. He says now that God, I think, has withdrawn his weapons. So now we should make use of this opportunity, this occasion. So God might have withdrawn his weapons out of scorn, or maybe he was tired of punishing us. Okay, so our satiate fury yield it from our foe. So whatever it is, the scorn or by satiate, God now is satisfied with his punishment for us, and now he has withdrawn his punishment. So Satan says, let us not lose this opportunity. See, seest thou yon dreary plain, forlorn and wild? Now it is again a reference to the hell. He says, Beelzebub, are you looking at the forlorn, wild plain, the seat of desolation? So, hell, he is calling hell as the seat of desolation, void of light, no light, save what the glimmering of this livid flames casts pale and dreadful, but for the meek, weak light that is coming out of these flames, which is very dreadful. Thither let us stand from off the tossing of these fiery waves. He says that let us get up. They are just lying down on the fiery gulf of hell. So now he says that see how this is forlorn and wild place we are in. Okay, let us get up, get out of this place, and just look there yonder. There you please look. I think there we can found some rest from these fiery waves. So let us get up. So he says, if any rest can harbor there, so let us get out of this fiery lake and fly and go there. Remember, they'll be having wings and they can fly. So he's saying, let us get up and reassembling our afflicted past. Let us gather our strength. Let us gather our powers, reassemble. So we have lost our powers because of God's punishment. So let us reassemble, gather, consult how we may henceforth most offend our enemy. Let us gather our powers, our strength. Let us get up and go some onto the harbor, some place where there is where we can seek rest. And after going there, what to do? We have to think, how can we offend our enemy? Our own loss, how repair? And along with that, we also we also should think, how can we repair ourselves? We have lost much, so how to repair that? How to overcome this dire calamity? So we have underwent a great calamity, a great destruction. How to overcome this? What reinforcement we may gain from hope? If not, what resolution from despair? So now there is no hope. But even from the despair, we should resolution take. We have to resolve some things. So, thus, talking to his nearest mate with a head uplift above the wave and eyes that sparkling blazed. So, that second speech of Saturn is over. Now, he is trying to move out of the fiery gulf. This is the description. So uplift his head and his eyes are burning like burning coals, and the other parts besides prone on the flood. So in the fiery gulf, which is like a flood, he is lying down, extended long and large. So very, what do you say, monstrous size he is of. Okay, so very big size. Saturn is in very monstrous size, and his size is compared here to Titanians, that is earthborn, who waged war with God, or Brieros. Brieros are also known as Asian, and they are believed to have 100 arms and 50 heads, monstrous creatures. Okay, they and lastly, he says that it is like Leviathan. Leviathan is the hugest, sea beast. It's believed that God created, till 205 or 209, 8 lines. He This is called as epic simile. See, epic simile is the third or fourth convention of writing, epic convention. Okay, I think I have mentioned, yeah, invocation, proposition, invocation, speech, long speeches is third convention, and now epic simile is the fourth convention. See, just to compare the monstrous size of Saturn's body, okay, figure, Saturn's stature, the figure, he gives us so many examples. He says that he is like Titanians, he is Brieros, he is Typhon, and then Tarsus, etc. And lastly, he says this word Leviathan. It's believed that God made this Leviathan, this animal, sea beast, which lives in in the sea, is the great, hugest of all the swimming animals, okay, in the ocean. So it is believed that when sailors were sailing, and then when this Leviathan is slumbering in water, Norway forms. Pilots used to think that that is a big rock, okay, or a skiff of a hill, and they just anchor their ships and lie down waiting for the morning. So in the nights, this Leviathan just lying down in the water appears like a heavy mountain, and in the scales of fish, so these sailors will just anchor their ships and will be sleeping or passing on the nights waiting for the night mornings. So like that, he says that, so stretched out hues in length the archifiend lay. So he is very long, like the Leviathan. This Archifiend, another name for Saturn, is lying chained on the burning lake. See, he is not lying down with just like that. He was chained down by God. Nor ever thence had risen or heaved his head, but that the will and high permission of all ruling heaven let him at large to his own dark designs, that with reiterated crimes he might heap on himself damnation, while he sought evil to others, and enraged might see how all his malice served but to bring forth infinite goodness, grace, and mercy shown on man by him seduced, but on himself trouble, confusion, wrath, and vengeance poured. See, this is here the speaker says that Saturn, such a big Saturn, monstrous size in length and width, he was lying down, chained to the lake, burning lake. But he could remove his chains only because of the will of God. So, without the permission of God, he cannot. But Saturn thinks that he could get out of the hell, the chains because of his own strength, because God, he will not believe in God's will. So, but God, who is very, very merciful, okay, graceful, good, he has shown mercy upon Saturn, and he allowed Saturn to rise and also to follow his what do you say, plans, whatever plans that he has, it is only to bring more damnation upon himself. So he will be going and disturbing men, seducing men. So, but God, so merciful God will be showing mercy upon God. But for on Saturn, he will be, of course, allowing Saturn to acquire more wrath, more vengeance, so that maybe again he may punish him. So this is how in the hell, in the fiery gulf of hell, Saturn was lying down, and his monstrous size is described, that is the epic simile. And later we will see how he gets out of the pool of that is the fiery gulf. That we will continue in the next class. I hope you all will listen. Yeah, I'm stopping sharing my screen. Please listen to that with the text open, and go through the lines, and then try to get the meanings of difficult words for you. Have a dictionary with you and write down the meanings, and then keep listening to the lecture, so that you will follow what those lines are speaking. Okay. Hi, here I am closing. Have a nice time.